This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now, where we bring you the 3 E's: educate, empower, and engage. I'm your host, Harvey Blankfeld, along with our co-host, Shelley Brown, and we've been selling homes here in Southern Nevada since 1988. Shelley and I are also very proud to be part of the Real Estate Radio Network. That is a national network of local real estate professionals delivering timely, balanced truths about local market conditions. And with us in studio, we have Blake Johnson, and he is a BYU and LSU grad. And he's also a member of the Southern Nevada Estate Planning Council and a board member of the BYU Management Society, the Las Vegas chapter. Everyone talks about a will, and a will is a very important thing to have, but there's more than just a will. What are some of the other estate planning documents we should be thinking about?
Yeah, even if you're just doing a will and you don't need a trust, 2 very important documents for you is your healthcare power of attorney, and then your asset power of attorney. So
the healthcare, tell me about that. So that's basically if you're ill and you can't make decisions for yourself, who's going to make those decisions? Is that what that is?
Exactly. So State of Nevada has their forms. You don't even need to see an attorney for these. You can go to State of Nevada's health website and download these forms. You fill in who you want to make those decisions, and they have a couple of options of different things you can fill out, whether you want your life prolonged to the greatest extent possible. If you're in a coma, do you want the plug pulled?
Gotcha.
If you have a terminal condition, if the cost is too great. So those are all things you need to consider.
Okay, so what's the asset thing? What did they decide? What does that mean?
So that gives the person the ability to sign your name for you. So it's a pretty important document that you don't want to do this one lightly. For most clients, what we do is we do a springing power of attorney. That means it doesn't spring into effect until 2 doctors say you're incapacitated. There is a general power of attorney, which basically gives them the right then. You can limit it to a time period, or you can leave it open indefinitely, depending on the situation.
The other thing we always talk about is these trusts. One of the things that's important for people to understand is that just because you have a will doesn't mean you can avoid probate or some of the other tax implications. You might want to consider having a trust as well. Is that right?
Yeah, the state of Nevada has one of the lowest probate levels in the country. It's $25,000. If you're above that, you have to go through the probate court.
Even if you have a will?
Even if you have a will.
Okay.
Yeah. All the will does is you now get to say who gets your stuff instead of the state of Nevada deciding who gets it.
Gotcha. But if you have a trust in place, what does that do? Does that eliminate that process? What happens then?
Yeah, trust acts similar to a business entity. It owns the property, and so when you die, there's nothing in your individual name, so there's nothing to be probated because the trust doesn't die.
So it's protected. That's the reason for the trust, and also from a taxation purposes, I understand that the trust is more beneficial too because it never transfers. It stays within the trust. On the passing of this person, the next person gets it, but it's not really transferred. It still stays in the ownership of the trust.
Right, and so the trust would be responsible for any income tax if there is any. But upon the death of the person who set it up, there's also that step up in basis to whatever the value of the property was on the date of death.
Let's do a layman's version of probate here, Blake. Tell me about probate.
Okay, probate's just nothing more than a fancy word that means the court proceedings to distribute your assets after you die. So who gets to decide who gets your stuff? And the state of Nevada has said that if the value of the estate is over $25,000, we have to actually go before the probate commissioner to get that decided. It's a long system, so your stuff's going to be tied up for a very long time because you have to get court approval on just about everything.
Right.
The other problem is if you don't have a will, the state of Nevada has written your will for you and said who's going to get it. If it's community property, it all goes to your spouse. If it's your separate property, half goes to your spouse if you're married, half goes to your closest living family member. So if your parents are alive, they get half, your spouse gets half.
You've been listening to Las Vegas Real Estate Now with hosts Harvey Blankfeld and Shelley Brown. Please tune in every Saturday at 11 a.m. right here on News Talk 720 KDWN.